the signals, goes back to throw. Now looks to take off and run. Elway inside the 10 and dives over the 5-yard line.
Great play. Great play by John Elway. Just phenomenal.
Check swing roller. Tulowitzki. Colorado's the National League champion.
Jokic has to put it up. Falling away, puts it up. Bang! Nikola Jokic knocks it down. His foot was on the line. A two-pointer. What a shot.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into Talking BS. I'm your host, Steven Zamora. Follow me on Twitter at ZamoraBSB. Please go and follow at Box8Boys303 for any and all updates going on with the show itself and anything going on with the Box 8 Boys as, you know, a conglomerate in whole. If you can and you do like this video, please go and like and subscribe. It really helps the channel's algorithm out. Today, I just got done. It is, as of right now, it is Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there watching right now. I appreciate you being here with me for real. But I just got done watching the Denver Nuggets play the Dallas Mavericks in a matinee game. They lost 107-105 with a Kyrie Irving buzzer beater right over Nikola Jokic to win the game. And it was a fun game, man. It really was. Two of my favorite players in the world, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, even Kyrie Irving, man. I'm a big Kyrie fan, big fan of his game. It was a fun game. A lot of crazy shots, crazy shot making in that game. It was really fun to watch. Unfortunately, we did come out with the L, but it's all good, man. We just won, 10 of our last 12. So, we're all right. We're doing good. I know there, a lot of stuff's been made of trying to get to 60 wins. We'll see how it goes. I'm not, super into trying to get to 60 wins or breaking, the franchise record or anything like that. I feel like that's going to eventually come anyway. As long as we keep Nikola Jokic around and we got, Jamal in town and MPJ and AG and stuff, like we're probably going to get there at some point. So, I'm not too worried about the whole record thing. But today I wanted to talk about, that same team, right? Dallas. I wanted to get into, them as well as other teams and, who I really want to see come playoff time and the teams that I'm kind of worried about seeing. And, just a little heads up, like Dallas is one of the teams I'm a little more worried about seeing in the playoffs. Just because of, Luka Doncic and Kyrie and, we just saw what they're capable of. And so let's get into that. Before we start though, please, like I said, if you can, like and subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, hit the little bell for the notifications. That way, every time an episode drops, you're notified immediately and you can hop right on it and, leave me some comments. If there's, a team you disagree with or, a take of mine that you disagree with, I'd love to hear it. I'd love, the discourse. I love having these hoops talks with all you guys. So, yeah, it means a lot to me. I'm going to keep this episode a little bit shorter today just because my last episode, I went like over an hour long because I had like so many, subjects. I should have really split it up into 2 different videos or whatever, but I had been gone for so long that I was just like, you know what, let's get a good combo in here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I got a lot of feedback on it, a lot of love on that one, so thank you guys so much. But yes, I am going to keep this one a little bit shorter, a little short and sweet, and kind of stick to this whole playoff preview, and kind of at the end of it come up with a little bracket that I think would be the most beneficial to the Nuggets going into the playoffs. And hopefully you guys enjoy. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's my little graphic I made. I did it all by myself. um, yeah, so this is the little graphic I made, kind of like the tier list thing, but I didn't want to go through and use their own. I wanted to make my own just because, I mean, look at all the beautiful colors and stuff. I made each team their own little, logo and stuff like that. I don't know. I put a lot of work into it. I hope you guys enjoy it. um, but I broke it down into 5 categories, right? So the top one, as you can see, could take the L. That is, a matchup that, I could see the team coming and playing us and beating us in the playoffs at some point. Um, I'm going to be straight up. I don't know if there's going to be too many of those. We have our second category is our 7-game series. That's going to be, a tough matchup there, where, I could see that game going seven games, or seeing that series go 7 games. We got 4-2, Nuggets win. We have gentleman sweep, which is, of course, as you probably already know, a 4-1 series. And then at the bottom there, I got the old broom for the sweep. I think the Nuggets can beat quite a few of these teams in a sweep. And if you can also tell, I have 10 teams there on the side. Los Angeles Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Dallas Mavericks, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Sacramento Kings, and the Phoenix Suns. I picked those 10 teams because those are the 10 teams currently in the play-in and playoff race. Number 11 right now in the Western standings, I believe, is still the Houston Rockets. They're about 4 or 5 games, I believe, behind the Warriors. I think they're like 3 or 4 games under 500. So I did not include them because chances are they're not going to make the play-in. And at the end of the day, let's talk some Lakers and Warriors as well, because those are some series that I might want to see come playoff time. So let's start at the top, shall we? We're Los Angeles Lakers. So far this year, the Lakers right now, I believe, are 36-31. They are 0-3 against Denver this season. We beat them on opening night. We beat them for Kobe statue reveal night, and we beat them for LeBron's 40,000 points game. So every single time they got up for a game, we ended up beating them. This is the reason I'm going to actually put them down at the sweep. So the Lakers are 28th in defensive efficiency since the All-Star break. They're not doing great defensively. They should be better with Anthony Davis and even LeBron James and Cam Reddish, and they got a lot of big, strong, good athletes on that team, and they're just not playing well. You can't really rely on Anthony Davis either. And I've said this multiple times before, but Anthony Davis is not anything to worry about as far as a matchup for Nikola Jokic, right? I think for almost any other matchup, any other big man that he'd be defending, there's a lot of them that he is a good matchup for. Nikola Jokic just isn't one of them. And Jokic kind of just sees right through him. So there's I think that's a sweep. We swept them last year in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they're much better. I actually think Rob Pelinka did a disservice to that team by not going out and improving it at the trade deadline, because they have actual deficiencies on that team that every Lakers fan wants to blame Darvin Ham for, but it's really not his fault. Like, he just doesn't have the tools, right? I mean, if you look at our game against them on LeBron's 40K night, right? They just didn't have an answer for, somebody who could come in and be a contributor offensively and defensively. There's this, I just read this quote on Bleacher Report about like taking on that point guard responsibility, right? Spencer Dinwiddie is supposed to steer this attack, and while he's been a decent distributor, he's had almost zero success after getting himself going. He is currently at 35, 31, 72 splits shooting over his first 12 games with the team. So he's just not the answer that they were hoping they were getting. Gabe Vincent has still been out for a long time, but I mean, we saw what Gabe Vincent was able to do against Jamal Murray last year, and it wasn't much of a help. So, like I said, I just think that team's deficient in a lot of ways, and I think Denver knows how to take it to them and knows how to beat them pretty handily. And honestly, like that might be my number one choice for who we end up playing in the playoffs. We'll see if they make it through the play-in. I think they're ranked. I think they're the 9th best team right now in the West. So, they were in the play-in last year. They made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. We'll see. If Denver gets that 1 seed, it's very, very, very possible that we play the Lakers in the first round, which would be awesome. Next up, we got the Golden State Warriors. They are 34-31 as of recording this, and 0-4 versus Denver in our 4 meetings this year. I believe Draymond wasn't playing for 3 of them, I want to say. I know we played Golden State one time when he was out with the suspension, and he had to go do therapy and all that stuff like he had to do. Golden State is another good matchup for us, I believe. Kevon Looney's a pretty good big, but he's just not big enough to handle Jokic. They don't have the requisite size to slow down Aaron Gordon, to slow down MPJ. Steph is Steph. He's going to Steph, right? He's going to go and he's going to have big games and stuff. But KCP is, in my opinion, probably one of the top 2 or 3 best Steph defenders in the league. He's just a disciplined player. He's going to stick to him at all times. He's not going to he's not going to fall asleep on a possession and let Steph, sneak back door or, come off curls or anything like that without, fighting over them really hard. So he's a great Steph answer. And I have no fear when it comes to the Warriors. I think that's a really good matchup for us. They're undersized. We have a guy who's really good against Steph. They don't have a single guy who can stop Jokic. I know we had the whole, series against him a couple of years ago where Draymond did a pretty good job on Jokic. But at the same time, like Nikola Jokic didn't have anybody else to like he didn't have a release valve, So, it's a little easier when you can only you only have to focus on one guy at a time. So if we played them again, as much as I do like the Warriors, I'm a big Steph fan. He's actually been my second favorite player for the longest time. Out of respect, I'll give them the gentleman's sweep. All right. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The young and up-and-coming Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, Oklahoma City has a few major flaws with that team. As of right now, they are 47-20. I believe since we lost to Dallas today, we are 47-21. So they are the current 1 seed in the West. But they do have flaws. They do. They are undersized inside the paint. They are, I believe, 28th or 29th in rebounding. So very bad rebounding team. They're inexperienced, right? That's always going to be the first thing that everybody points to is the lack of experience. And I'm a believer in it, right? I believe that, a team's got to take their lumps in the playoffs before they can go and, be championship favorites, no matter what seed they are, We've just seen it way too many times. We've seen, good young teams come into the playoffs with no experience. And, even if they're a 1 seed, they got home court advantage. They have everything going for them. And, they blow the series because they're inexperienced and they don't know how to win in those big games, especially if they play a big team that has a lot of experience. It just doesn't work out for them. Look at Memphis in their past couple seasons. I think that's just a really good example of that. Even Denver, when we were first coming up. At the end of the day, Chet Holmgren is very good. Shea is, arguably the second best player in the league today. Somebody sent me his stat line. I think it was Brandon on Twitter. So shout out Brandon. Sent me his stat line, and I had no idea, but Shea is shooting like 38% from three. It's incredible, man. For a guy whose like only flaw was that he wasn't a great shooter, he's shooting nearly 40% from three. And I believe it, man. Every time I watch OKC, I'm like, he hits a shot that I'm like, God damn it, man. Like, I did not think he was gonna make that. And he makes like all of them every time. I'm like, God damn. I'm not even 100% sure Oklahoma City gets out of the first round. So that might be a hot take, but depending on who they play, right? If Oklahoma City gets a matchup against the Lakers in the first round, I absolutely would put my money on the Lakers. Uh, I would absolutely put my money on LeBron James and Anthony Davis to be able to get past Oklahoma City. If Oklahoma City gets Sacramento in the first round, it's a very real possibility that Sacramento leaves that series. On top. So, I think they're a good team. I just think it's too early and they're just not big enough. If they can go and get somebody, you know, um, I don't know, another big body this offseason, maybe I would take them a little bit more seriously. Somebody who's a good rebounder. But as of right now, um, I think they win 2 games max. The Dallas Mavericks. All right. So I just got done watching the Nuggets play them. Let me explain something, man. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are filthy. Okay, these are 2 of the best guards in the world. Luka Doncic is a bad man. He's averaging 34, 9, and 9. He just put 37 on the Nuggets. Kyrie Irving's averaging 25, 5, and 5. They're the highest scoring backcourt in the NBA. When Kyrie's on, man, and playoff time, Kyrie, he plays really good defense. He's undersized for a guard, but man, he is tough. He is strong. He is smart. He's pretty athletic, deceptively athletic. He's a very good player. Offensively, what he brings, right? He's dribbling through everybody. Making incredible tough shots and layups, and his layup package is insane. His dribble package is insane. The guy he's such a good player, man. It's why he's one of my favorite players to watch. And Luka is Luka, man. Like, he's gonna win some games, man. I don't care how good the Nuggets are. I don't care. Like, the Nuggets, he can come into this into a playoff series against the Nuggets with the team that Nikola Jokic had a couple years ago, and he's going to win at least a game. The same way Jokic did with Facu and PJ Dozier and Will Barton and stuff. Like, Luka's capable of that, man. He's that damn good that he will win a game by himself. At the end of the day, we are a better team. I know. I'm not scared of the Mavericks. I don't think that they would beat us in a series. They do have size, right? They went out, they got Daniel Gafford, they went and got PJ Washington. We just watched the game. They got like almost 20 offensive rebounds on us because that second unit is just a lot smaller than theirs. And that can be an issue, and they got bodies to throw at Jokic. To me, this is a tougher series than Oklahoma City, Golden State, LA. This is, I just have a lot of respect for Luka. I think the dude can single-handedly win them a game. I think Kyrie, just like he did, can win them a game, on like a buzzer beater. And there's 2 games right there. Can the rest of the team step up and get them another win? It's possible. They're a good team. I don't think they're anything to really worry about. I know I was just having this, people hitting me up on Twitter because I just posted this on Twitter that, I'd rather play Oklahoma City. I'd rather play Golden State. I'd rather play the Lakers. I'd rather play the Clippers, right? I'd rather play a lot of these other teams than the Mavericks in the first round of the playoffs. And the whole thing is just, I don't want to play a team that's going to take us to a 7-game series right off the bat, and I'm not sure Dallas would take us to a 7-game series. That one could easily go 4-1 because we are that much more talented than Dallas. But I think out of, a lot of these teams, like Dallas is one of the few that could push us to a 7-game series. I respect that team a lot. But I'm going to put him right in the middle because I think realistically it'd probably go 4-2. Next up, we got our division rival, the Minnesota Timberwolves. This would have been our toughest matchup in these playoffs. This is a team that I probably would have put in that top category, could take the L, right? I probably would have put them there until Karl Anthony Towns got hurt. Now, I'm not saying Karl Anthony Towns is like, a great player or anything like that. Like he's a great player. He is a very good player. He's one of the most talented players in the NBA. He wouldn't be like the deciding factor of it or anything of that series. But the fact that they don't have him, and he is, arguably their second best player on that team, right? He's got size, right? That you need to handle Jokic in the post. You can put, Towns on Jokic and let Gobert roam. You got Anthony Edwards out there creating havoc on the perimeter, offensively and defensively. Jaden McDaniels wasn't in our series against them last year, so that would be a big help. And Naz Reid is playing his ass off. He's like, arguably sixth man of the year this year, and he's just like a really, really good player, man. Naz Reid is really fucking good. But Karl Anthony Towns is out. We'll see. I don't think we'll probably see him in the playoffs unless, it's a deep run and we see him maybe in the Western Conference Finals. As far as I know, though, he's going to be out for the entirety of the playoffs, if I remember correctly. So, no Karl Anthony Towns. Man, I really don't know where to put these guys. I don't, because Naz Reid is still really good. But their big man depth behind Nas and Rudy Gobert is just, what do you do? Throw Luka Garza out there? So, we still got 3 games. That's another thing. We still have 3 games against them left in the season. So we haven't had a huge sample size. We did beat them the one time that we did play them earlier in the year. But we still have 3 games to play against them. We haven't really played this iteration of the team too much. So we'll see. Right now, I'd probably put that as a 7-game series just because, man, that team, it was literally built to beat the Nuggets. So the New Orleans Pelicans, if you don't know, I am not a big fan of New Orleans. I'm not a big fan of Zion, not a big fan of Brandon Ingram. Like I think individually, I think if I put them on other teams, like I'd probably be bigger fans of them. But them being together, like it just doesn't mesh with me. They're both kind of real ISO type scorers. I'm not a big fan of that. Brandon Ingram is cold. I'm not gonna sit here and like cap on that. Like Brandon Ingram is a cold fucking. He's a hooper, bro. Like that motherfucker can hoop. And Zion's a phenom, But I don't have any fear of that team. Big Val is a good center, but he's, just put him in the pile of, regular guys that Jokic knows how to get by. And, I don't see a real issue with them. They have a lot of really good players. I wish the Nuggets had some of their guys. Like I'm a big fan of Jose Alvarado. Herb Jones is arguably one of the best defenders in the NBA. Even Larry Nance, guys like that, Najee Marshall, all the way down to like their 10th guy, like they're a good team. But they don't put any fear in my heart. I'll probably go with a gentleman's sweep on these guys. The Los Angeles Clippers. This might be the most talented team in the NBA. We saw for a little while, just before the All-Star break, how damn good they could actually be. They were just beating on everybody. I wanted the Nuggets to play them at that time. I wish we would have been able to see that matchup, just because we've always kind of sunned them. And but when they're on, when they're rolling, and they're a really good team when they're rolling. It's hard to deal with, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, even Russell Westbrook, right? He's, I know people give him a lot of crap, but I'm still kind of a Russell Westbrook fan. I think people kind of give him too much shit, granted for like how good he is. He is hurt, so I mean, we're not going to see him or anything, but when that team is rolling, they're a really good team. Zubac actually does a very good job on Jokic a lot of the time. I think that's a tough series. I do. Kawhi is just a dog, man. Kawhi, you can't sleep on Kawhi. I know James Harden's like a huge playoff choker, but at the same time, man, I think if Ty Lue is smart, and he is smart, he's not going to have, James Harden trying to win those games for them. He's going to be putting, Kawhi in position to win those games for them. And yeah, I think that's a pretty tough series. They have just as much talent as Denver, which is, rare to say. So yeah, I think with them, I'm gonna go 7-game series. Dos más. All right, we got Sacramento Kings. I like to kind of call them like the Nuggets light. I feel like De'Aaron Fox is a very good player. I think he's about just as good as Jamal Murray. I think a lot of people would probably say he's better, but I'd say they're around the same tier. Just Jamal is such a great, tough shot maker. De'Aaron Fox is, I think he was clutch player of the year last year. Domantas Sabonis is just not Jokic, and they have a lot of good players. They do. Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray. I'm a big fan of Keegan Murray. They got really good players. They're a really good team. I wish they would have went out at the trade deadline. If I was a Kings fan, I wish they would have went and got a good defender to put on the wing. I think that really would take them over the top. But to me, this just isn't much of a series. I think they beat us. Let me see. Yeah, so they're 3-1 versus us this year in the regular season. But I don't believe it. I really just don't believe that they're a better team than us in any form or fashion. And I think, honestly, that would be probably a gentleman's sweep. Last but not least, we got the Phoenix Suns. You got Kevin Durant, you got Devin Booker, you got Bradley Beal. We saw a game earlier this year. I forgot who it was against. I want to say it was Milwaukee. But they played a game, I think it was Milwaukee, with Devin Booker out. And it was just like painfully obvious that they needed a point guard. Their offense was just horrible. They actually just played Milwaukee today with no Giannis and just completely shit the bed. I just can't take that team too serious, man. They just have this just like, lackadaisical attitude about everything. And, I feel like teams like that, like, to be honest, they play better in the playoffs because they're, it's an older team, right? Kevin Durant and stuff. Like, they don't care too much about the regular season. But as of right now, I think they're like the 7th or the 8th seed. Like, if you don't care by now, like, when are you going to? You know what I'm saying? So, they have a lot of flaws. They're not a great defensive team. Like I said, they don't really have a point guard. I didn't believe in this team from the get. But they do have the requisite talent to keep up with Denver. I think if there is a good way to beat Denver, I think it's to outscore them. I think that's one of the best ways to go about it. And Phoenix absolutely can do that. We saw in our most recent game against them, Kevin Durant, going off in overtime, and we just kind of couldn't do anything about it. So they're a very good team. They do. I respect them. I'll say that. I respect that team, and I don't think we would be able to beat them handedly. I don't think we'll sweep them. I don't think we'll gentlemen sweep them. I'm not even sure we would go 4-2 again. The addition of Bradley Beal over, Landry Shamet in the corner, I think does make a difference. As much as Phoenix fans have been fucking playing that note all offseason and into the regular season, I just don't think it's enough that they would be able to beat us. I'm kind of in between the 4-2 Nuggets and the 7-game series because I kind of feel like giving them the 7-game series is a little too much respect because I hate the Suns. But I also don't think that, 4-2 is fair because they are one of the better teams out west. So, being unbiased, I guess I'll put them in the 7-game series. All right. So I got nobody in the top tier, right? I really don't think the Nuggets are going to lose to any of these teams in the playoffs. After what we've seen from them in these past 12 games, including the losses to Phoenix and Dallas today, I just don't think, you know, I just don't see Denver losing in a series to any of these teams. Um, you know, I think Minnesota is a very good team. They're well built. They're built to beat Denver. Unfortunately, Karl Anthony Towns got hurt. If he hadn't got hurt, I probably would have put him in that top tier. The Clippers are super talented, and them and the Suns have the same case. If they really tried, they might be able to go out there and outscore us for a couple games. Oklahoma City and Dallas are in our 4-2 Nuggets category. Different reasons why, but respect to both of those teams. Oklahoma City is a really good team. They're just too young and too slight, I guess, on the inside. And Dallas, they just don't have the talent, I think, to outdo the Nuggets in a 7-game series. In the gentlemen's sweep category, Golden State Warriors, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Sacramento Kings. Golden State is kind of there out of respect to Steph and those guys and Draymond. New Orleans, I think they have, they're a good, talented team. They have a lot of good pieces and everything. I just don't think they have the right guys to go out there and beat the defending champions in a 7-game series more than, one game. And Sacramento, like I said, they're just Nuggets light. I just don't think they could beat us in a series. And I have a hard time thinking they could even beat us, like I said, more than one time. And then down in the sweep category, I got the Lakers. I think there's no chance in hell the Lakers beat us in a series. I think there's no chance in hell I think there's a small chance they could beat us in a game, but no chance in hell they beat us in a series. Respect to LeBron James. He is, arguably the GOAT. But that team is just not good. And they're a bad matchup for Denver. So to me, this is my ideal bracket scenario on our road to the NBA Finals. If I could set up the bracket in a way that would be most beneficial to the Denver Nuggets, I think this is the way I would set it up. In the first round, we would take on the Los Angeles Lakers. On the other side of our same bracket, we would have the Clippers and the Pelicans. Now, I did try to keep this somewhat realistic, right? So if we could have the Lakers win the play-in, if we could have the Kings win the play-in tournament, the Lakers come in as the 8th seed, and the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks get eliminated, okay? I kind of feel like this Warriors team is over. I think they're kind of holding on to it, and it's kind of over. Kuminga is really good. Podziemski is really good. They need to start really looking into that future. As much as it kind of probably pains Warriors fans to hear that, that team's it's cooked, man. You're just not the same team anymore. And also Dallas, I hope they get eliminated in the play-in because, like I said, I do not want to play them in the first round. If they make it to, if we end up the 2nd seed and they end up the 7th seed, or we end up 1st and they end up 8th, I do not want that series in the first round just because Luka has potential to take that to 7 games and be hell on us and make it hard for us in the next round. So I chose those two to be eliminated. Clippers and the Pelicans is the 4-5. Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves in a 3-6 series, and the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Sacramento Kings in a 2-7 series. So with that said, I'm running a little long here. I wanted to keep this episode a little shorter and sweeter for you guys, and just give you my thoughts on the playoffs and some stuff coming up here in the near future. We got a couple more weeks. I think it's 3 or 4 more weeks ahead of us. So a lot can change. A lot of stuff can change. The top 4 seeds are all pretty stacked right there. I think we're a half game behind OKC. I think Minnesota's a game behind us. So them top 4 seeds are real close. And then, basically from, 5 through the play-in tournament, those are all pretty close together as well. They're all within, let's see, I think 5 games of each other. So, a lot could change in the next few weeks. But, I thought it'd be fun to go over that, see who I would prefer to see in the playoffs. If you did enjoy this, please go and like and subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. I appreciate you guys so much. And I love you guys with all my heart and soul. Thank you for being here with me. Zamora out.